before you ask, yes, the heels are necessary. And no, I couldn't find any pants long enough. I even looked in the men's section. Also, no, I don't play basketball, and I'm not a high jumper either. And modeling really isn't my thing. Trust me, I tried. I failed. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. 175 centimeters. That is the answer to the $1,000,000 question. How tall are you? Why a million? Well, because if I received $1 every time someone asked me that question, I'd be worth at least 37 ringgit by now. But seriously, 5'7" is not even that tall. But I live in Malaysia, and the average height for a woman here is 5 foot nothing. This means that I had to grow up listening to my Indian relatives sigh and wonder, how is she ever going to find a husband? Now at the age of 9, I didn't really care. But by high school, being the tallest even amongst my guy friends, I was convinced that I was going to be a third wheel for life. And don't even get me started on the traumas of shopping. To put it simply, I hated being 175 centimeters tall. And it's really ironic because everyone I knew wanted to be taller. Well, there I was praying to somehow grow shorter. I guess it's like the Europeans who favor deep tanning lotions while we tend to reach for the skin whitening cream. You always want what you can't have. But there was me in high school. If I can stand in front of you in heels today, I'm pretty sure I don't need to tell you that things have changed. Instead, I'm going to share with you when, how, and why things changed. Let's start with the when. It was the 5th of December 2014, 3:15 p.m. on a cloudy Monday. I'm just joking. There's no way I can remember the exact time or date, but what I do remember is this quote by Temple Grandin. I am different, not less. Confused? Allow me to explain. People never understood me when I complained about being tall because while others were worrying about their complexion, health, and weight, there I was fussing over my height. But it was a huge deal for me because it made me stand out. And I never felt comfortable being different from the people around me. So I developed a tall girl slouch and just kind of shrank it to myself. When you think about it, society, especially ours, has always regarded being different or standing out as a negative thing. This is because we value conformity, even uniformity. We are conditioned to be communal in nature, which is why when we think of ourselves as different, we feel uncomfortable, awkward, embarrassed. This means that we struggle to accept or even appreciate what makes us unique. You see, being different is one thing, but owning up to it is a whole new ballgame. Perhaps you've heard of Lizzie Velasquez. She's given the dubious title of the world's ugliest girl by some awful internet troll. She's born with an extremely rare congenital disease called Marfanoid Project Lipodystrophy Syndrome, which prevented her from gaining weight. Now, this syndrome made her look different from the rest of us. But ladies and gentlemen, when has different ever made someone deserving of such a label? If it took me years to accept being tall as a good thing, imagine what this poor woman had to go through when some jerk dedicated a video entitled World's Ugliest Girl for everyone to snigger at online. But every cloud has a silver lining. And Lizzie used that video to literally turn her life around. She's given a TED Talk, written 2 books, and even has her own full-screen original TV series. How did she do it? Simple. By accepting her differences. Though it might take years to be content with what you see in the mirror. But when you do, it'll be magical. Because whatever mean girls like Regina George say will no longer matter. For fitting in while standing out will no longer be a problem. And that, my friends, is liberating. Let me paint you another scenario. When a man dresses up, he's labeled as confident and assertive. But when a woman wears heels and stands out, the adjectives tend to be less flattering. So we start to look at our differences as weaknesses, and as a consequence, we strive to hide or even deny our true selves just to be part of the pack. Which brings us to the most important question: why? Why should we risk our reputation, popularity, social lives, and even our friends? I mean, life would be so much easier if we just went with the flow, right? But equally, why crave acceptance at the expense of individuality? We all get dealt a different set of cards in the great game of life, but how we play them, that's up to us. So don't be another face in the crowd, just another echo, smiling on the outside but sad on the inside, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a little taller, louder, nerdy than the people around you. Even though you may come over as royalty to others, you can still be a jester in your own court. So perhaps it took longer than it should have, or perhaps it's perfectly normal. But I'm happy to say that I no longer give two hoots about being the elephant, or in my case, the giraffe in the room. You see, I've come to realize that there's absolutely no point trying to fit in when you're born with no choice but to stand out. A very wise woman on Tumblr once said, "What sets you apart may feel like a burden sometimes, but most of the time, it is what makes you great." So I guess you can say, standing out really isn't my problem anymore. Standing up in these heels are. Before I end my speech, allow me to issue a core invitation to all the guys here. I am still single, so if you're above or even under 175, hit me up. I don't mind a guy that will both stand up and look up to me. Thank you.